So I'm gonna wait for a bit till it's 16:15, so that's 3 minutes. If you have any questions, just post them in the chat, and I will answer them at the end of this short talk. If it's a complicated question, I will probably get back at you at a later date, but normally I will be able to answer your questions. So okay. Anyway, well, let's just get started, right? I mean, people can watch it back, so it's fine. So today I'm going to talk about hijackers. Now, before we get into this, you need to understand that when you create a listing on Amazon, it's not your listing. You do not own it. So it's not like eBay, where the listing is more or less yours, and you can kick out people who aren't supposed to use your images or your copyrighted text or whatever it is. You don't want them to use. It's easier on eBay. On the Amazon marketplace, however, you need to understand that Amazon owns all the listings, and Amazon determines who can and cannot sell on that listing. Okay. Now this is important to know because many people tend to contact Amazon based on the assumption that they own a listing, and that can create some weird miscommunication. And if you have a problem with Amazon where you have a miscommunication problem, then it can go straight out of the gate. Then you don't know what's happening, and they don't know what's happening, and then you get all these miscommunication emails. Before you know it, you're 3 weeks further. So you need to understand that the listing you created is not yours. Okay. Now, another thing you need to understand is that there is a big difference between an arbitrage seller, right, a retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, or even wholesale or drop shipping, and a hijacker. Now, to be honest, I really never understood why private label sellers or even retailers have or had a problem with arbitrage people, right? I mean, they basically bought the product, so you got your money, and the fact that they sell it on Amazon later on, for me personally, I never mind. As long as they sell the legitimate product, and I don't care if somebody else makes a bit of margin. I never understood that, because everybody got paid, so I don't get it. Now, more to the point is that hijackers, they are bad actors, okay? So whereas arbitrage sellers basically sell the same product, and they maybe have like 3 or 4, and you get rid of them after that. A hijacker basically destroys all the hard work you have done. Okay, so they basically destroy your listing or your work 9 out of 10 times in 1 or 2 ways. The first one is that they copy your product. Okay, they exactly make like a carbon copy of your product. And if you're not trademarked, that's super easy. They wait until you run out of stock, then send in their own inventory, and basically slowly take over your listing. Another thing they do is it's basically the same MO, but instead of selling the same product, they wait until you run out of stock, they take over your listing and then alter the listing to something else. So, whether you sold like a mobile phone at first, they change it and now it's like I don't know, like a rule or a cup of a series of mugs or whatever it is. It's batteries. It doesn't really matter. They change the product completely. They change the text. They change everything. The only thing they care about in that instance is about the ranking, right? So you invested all that money into ranking that specific listing, and they change that product and change the images and then basically step on without having to do any of the work. So then the big question is, what can you do about these things? Okay, so I've written a couple of things down here, so I'm going to read them up more or less. Now the first thing you need to realize is that the best thing you can do is to do a lot of prep work for your brand or your product, whatever you want to call it, before you list anything. Okay, and that includes spending time, money, and a lot of effort before you even get started with ranking and creating the listing. Now the first thing I would recommend you do is differentiate your product. This is a fancy way of saying that you need to tweak the product in such a way that it's harder for hijackers to copy your product. Now most of the times this is basically done through add-on products, right? So if you sell golf balls, you have a nice pouch, or maybe like a tracking thing, whatever it is. It's like small add-ons that basically differentiate your product. Now if you're going down that road, then my advice would be to source those add-on product and the main product from different suppliers and use an agent to bundle it for you. Okay, because I found that your supplier, and that's most likely someone from Alibaba, they don't really care about you, and if somebody else comes along that wants the same product but maybe they buy 10,000 of that product from them, for them it's just 10,000 products. They don't really care if it's your brand or not. And sometimes maybe they don't even know. I mean, if you have to realize that if you get hundreds, maybe thousands of requests for golf balls or whatever you want to sell, then I wouldn't blame them if they didn't know that 3 months ago some other guy basically ordered the exact same product. Okay. More on the darker side of the argument is that I believe that many of these manufacturers tend to be hijackers themselves, right? So they send all your stuff to that warehouse, and once they realize it's going well, there's nothing to stop them from jumping on your listing. So again, differentiate, use an agent to bundle everything so that the manufacturer themselves don't know how it's exactly it's compiled, how your bundle is created, and it makes it harder for any third party to basically copy your listing and copy your product. Now it doesn't it doesn't really help you with those guys that basically hijack your listing to sell their own products, but it at least takes away like half of the problem. Okay. Now the following thing I would do is I would register a trademark as soon as possible, right? When your website is up, I mean, you need to have some specific you need to comply to certain rules, right? So you need to have a website, and you need to have some front page. It doesn't have to be a complicated website, but at least there has to be some real world reference of that brand name or that product you want to trademark in order for the USPTO to grant you the trademark. Okay, you can't say, hey, I'm Martin, I have this name, I have nothing done yet, but I just want to it can be done, you can register a trademark, but it becomes harder for like a normal person to do the legal battle if somebody else picks up that name as well and starts selling products with that name, maybe even the same niche. Okay, that can be a problem nonetheless, but if you have a website and you have like some proven track record or a history already, then you can actually, they can actually prove that you are the first brand owner. Okay, so don't want to go too deep into it, but suffice to say, start with a trademark. Now some people in this market, if you want to call it, they say that differentiation is good enough, and that with your first product you shouldn't be too too anal about these kind of things. But my point of view is that whether it's your first product or your 10th product, I don't believe in trying things. Okay, if you want to build a certain product, I kind of assume that you want to build a product. If you just do it like see how it goes, then I don't think this is something to do, something you should do. So, and honestly, if I look at it from a pure numbers perspective, you spend thousands and thousands of dollars to do the research, rank the product, create images, do the branding, whatever is involved in building your brand. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars. To me, it's insane that you're basically going to sell that product without protecting yourself legally. It's to me, it's like remodeling your house, buying all new furniture and appliances, right? And then go on a holiday and leave your door wide open. Okay, it doesn't make sense to me. So if you ask me, trademark as soon as possible. Now, the last thing I would definitely recommend you should do, is that you should build your own web platform. Okay, and that can be a website or an app or Instagram. It doesn't really matter. And whatever money you invest should be geared towards getting traffic and customers to that specific platform. Whatever you use, it has to be yours. I wouldn't even recommend using Facebook or Instagram as shops themselves, because then basically it's the same as Amazon. Okay, you don't own the platform. If you get banned or kicked out, then you lose your revenue stream. So build your own website and invest the money to get traffic to that site. Now, I realize that Amazon is a concentrated place where people already, like a massive amount of people already go there with the intent to buy. Now, and I realize that you won't get as much in the beginning. The problem is, however, that that when you go on the Amazon website, just Google or just type in any product in the Amazon search bar, you'll find maybe hundreds, maybe even thousands of the same type of products. And even though the amount of concentrated customers is way higher than you will get in the beginning, you have like killing competition. Okay, it's not even funny anymore. Um, and providing you do the branding properly, you do the SEO properly, SEA, and you treat your customers on that small web platform you're going to build. If you treat your customers fairly and properly, um, you will at some point have your own audience. You own your own customer. You own your own um, sales marketing pipeline. Now this is something we can do as well, right? So as you know, we have the brand builder program, and with this program we basically build your business from scratch while you go about your day. So we build a website, do the SEO, SEA, do market and product research, we build the content, we even do digital prototyping of your product, basically a 3D model, all in-house and all secure, so you don't have to be afraid that somebody else will run with your idea. Okay, and to be honest, you have to face the reality that even if you have all the knowledge to do it and you work a 9 to 5, it's not very likely that you're going to have the time to actually do all of it properly next to a 9 to 5, because building a business is essentially having another work week or worse next to that 9 to 5, and you have to ask yourself honestly, can you do that not for a day, not for a week, not for a single month, but can you do that for months or maybe years on end? Okay, so you have to ask yourself this, if you can do this. If you can, by all means do it yourself. If you can't, you have a good idea that you really want to monetize on, again, a secondary income stream is very important, not for me but for you, because being dependent on just your day job to me is not a wise decision. Okay, so you need to have something that generates money while you work, eat, sleep. Okay, so now again, as I said, preventing hijackers, even though you can never really 100% prevent it, but taking all these preventive measures I mentioned before, that's always the best way. Now if it happens to be the case that you haven't done all this and you haven't invested all this time up front, then your options are going to be limited. What I would do is, the first thing is I would start with the trade marketing ASAP. Okay, if you haven't done it already. Then you send a cease and desist letter to that seller or that hijacker that's on your listing. You can do that via marketplace messaging. Okay, so you have to be strict, but you also have to make sure you don't violate any terms of services. I will get to that a moment later, right? In a moment. So then you open a case with Amazon, and last but not least, get advice from a lawyer. Okay, so you have your trademark down and you need to have some legal advice as to how to formulate certain things. I would definitely recommend that. Now there are also services that basically do this for you, where they message third-party sellers that are on your listing or trying to sell your brand. These services tend to not to really make a distinction between arbitrage people and hijackers, but they basically clean your listing out. They clean your listing out basically by flooding the hijackers with cease and desist letters and injunctions and all that kind of stuff. Now some of these third parties are authorized by Amazon to do this kind of thing. Now what you have to realize and you need to understand is that you can't be cheap and try to impersonate one of these services yourself. Okay, if you get caught, you will be the one that gets banned from selling on Amazon. So don't do that. Now, to close, the key aspect you need to get from this is that you really need to think about what you're doing when you start a private label product. Okay, you need to do all the work from level 0 upwards. Okay, so even if you haven't made any money, but you have to do the research properly, you have to do the market research properly, the branding, the bundling of the products, everything needs to fit, even the trademarking, everything needs to be done before you actually start selling. Now again, I realize that many people out there think this is too careful or too cautious in a way, but I think it's really strange that people spend thousands and thousands of dollars building a product, getting it ranked, and again, not have any of the legal protection set up. Okay, so in my opinion, it's just foolish if you're doing it like that. Now again, I think that if you have a website built but not a trademark, I think you already have a stronger position legally speaking, as you know, if you use a lawyer, he can basically make a plausible case that you are the originator. Okay, again, you can make the same argument as to the fact that you created a listing with Amazon, but you're dealing with a corporate structure, and honestly, that's you need more legal ammunition to get that hijacker kicked off your listing. Now, when you contact Amazon, and this is very important because many people tend to internalize the argument by saying it's my product, it's my listing, it's my brand, I have worked a lot, I have done this, I have done that. Amazon doesn't care about you. Okay, so when you contact Amazon, when you suspect a hijacker is on your listing, or perhaps someone not dealing in good faith and trying to copy your product, you need to make the argument, the conversation needs to be about the customer experience. So when you contact Amazon and you get a hold of someone, which is hard as it is nowadays, you need to tell the story where you say, okay, listen, I suspect that this person is not selling the real deal. Now look at our feedback, look at our product, it's done with great care. We want to make sure our mutual customers will get a great product and an excellent service and blah blah. You know, you need to talk that stuff. Okay, if you start talking about your needs and your demands and all that kind of stuff, or that you lose money and everything that's about you is irrelevant to Amazon. Okay, so once you make it about the customer, then it will be far more likely that they will help you, and if the hijacker made any changes on your listing, it's far more likely that they will help you. Okay, just as an example, a couple of, I think it's 6 months ago, I sold a product via arbitrage on Amazon, and I got a message from the customer that it was missing something. So I missed it, I missed something, and it basically was like a bundle, and my product didn't have like 1 or 2 items that was included in the bundle that was on the listing, but not with my product. Now, what I found is that many of our students and many of our customers, once that happens, because I got like a 1-star review, once that happens, they contact Amazon to get rid of the review. Okay, Now once you start the argument, talking about, or the discussion or the communication, whatever you want to call it, once you start doing that, and telling a story that's revolving your demands, your problems, the fact that you want to remove that 1-star review, Amazon is far less likely to help you. Okay, so what I do and always do is I contact the customer, I give them a free Amazon gift card for like $10 or $20, doesn't really matter, even though it blows all my profit away. Then I contact Amazon and see if I can help the customer. That's the first thing I do. I contact Amazon and say, listen, I made a mistake. I see that my product was incomplete. I removed the listing, but can I do something to help them? I already sent the customer an Amazon gift card to compensate. And 9 out of 10 times I get called, and they're happy to help me. They're happy that I treat their customers with this service, this level of respect, and then they remove that 1-star review without me even asking. Right? You accomplish more if you make it about the customer when you make it about you. Okay, that's a key thing you need to take away from this. When you want to solve something like this, hijacking or bad customer stuff, in hindsight, after the fact, okay? So it's very important to do that. So that was what I wanted to talk about. Again, I don't think there's much more to tell about blocking hijackers, or at least remedying it. Now I do have a couple of questions that I got via email. So question 1 from Richard from the UK. Martin, I'm new to Amazon. Where should I start? Arbitrage or private label? And is it better to start here in the UK or in the US? So first of all, thanks for the question. So I think that if I look at it purely from a learning perspective, it's better to start with arbitrage. In my opinion, private label is not for beginners. Now I do think that with all these IP claims and all these A to Z claims and all that misery that comes with selling on Amazon via arbitrage, I do think that it's becoming less doable to sell products on Amazon as a reseller by doing arbitrage. But as a starting point and as a learning mechanism, I think arbitrage is still better. You can start with relatively low amounts of money, especially compared to private label. So whenever you make a mistake, it won't cost you that much money, okay? And you build experience, you build seller history, you get ungated for categories and brands. So again, private label is not really for beginners. If you have like an idea you want to exploit and want to make money from, and you need to do private label, then again, look at our brand builder program that will help you actually get it up and running. And you can make use of our experience, okay? So now as to where to sell, again, that depends on what your goal is. If you just want to learn like the ropes, like what's involved with selling on Amazon, then you can start in the UK, okay? It doesn't really matter. It's just about the process then. However, if you want to make money doing arbitrage, it's better to start in the US, simply because the market is bigger. Now there are some hurdles to overcome, like dealing with prep centers and that kind of stuff, but it's doable, okay? It's not that difficult. Let's say if you're going to do private label on your own, and if you're from the UK, like a native UK person, not someone who just happened to live there and whatever, then I think it's better to stick with what you know. Now, what I mean by that is that if you're just getting started with selling on Amazon, I assume you have a limited budget, so you have to stick with what you know. So that means that your private label product should be something you understand fully, right? Again, software generates data points, but it isn't a replacement for your own brain, okay? So, and next to that, if you live in the UK, you understand the UK better, like idioms, like language things, right? Culture. Again, I think like we in the West have a certain kinship, so I would understand someone from the US better than, let's say, someone from India, right? Even if we speak the same language, I think our frame of reference is more or less the same. But when you start out, it's better to stay close to home and start building it small and grow that sphere of influence, okay? Anyway, I hope this answered the question. If not, just send me a follow-up question, that's fine. Okay. So this is also a question I got from Nancy from Wisconsin. Well, okay, so she asks, she asks, I like the brand builder program, but can't afford it. Is there a cheaper way? So again, first off, you need to understand I'm not making fun of you. I'm not making any judgments when I say this, but if you're serious about private label, but you can't afford something like the brand builder program, then it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to get a private label product from the ground. Okay. The problem is, again, I can make this question into like a 2-hour webinar, but the main point you need to understand is that when you launch a private label product, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a brand. Now, personally, I think you should start with your own web platform and build a brand from there and grow. Because trying to build like a unique brand on Amazon among like thousands of brands, to me, it seems almost undoable. There's no proper way where you can distinguish yourself from the storefront, right? You can distinguish yourself by doing better support and all that kind of stuff. But that's not something people see. The first thing people see is a price and your brand name. And if they don't know your brand name, they're not going to buy it. Okay. But the main thing is that you're trying to build a brand, and I realize that many people see Coca-Cola and Nike and Adidas and all that these big brands, and they tend to internalize or think they will reach that same level with their $500 budget, and that's the problem. Even like a basic brand, which is nothing like Coca-Cola, just a launching process and ranking it will cost you anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000. Okay, that includes like the initial stock purchase and all the branding. But that's just launching. You probably need to invest roughly the same amount of money for the follow-up order. Okay, so let's say $20,000 is something you need to spend easily. Now, what you have to realize is that this $20,000 is not guaranteed to earn you any profits. Okay, so you need to be able to spend that kind of money, and you need to be able to lose it without batting an eyelash. Now you can swear a bit, I would, but you need to be able to lose that money and not get into trouble. Okay, so and I found in my contact with a lot of people, that many people tend to borrow money, and again, when you borrow money, I understand why you do it, but when you do it, um, success is not an option anymore, it's mandatory, and that will generate a lot of stress, okay? Um, Now, some out there claim that you can do it with a lot less, and they take examples like Warren Buffett, who started with $500 in a paper round, or Steve Jobs, who started in a garage. Um, but first thing I would like to mention is that um, Warren Buffett didn't go from a paper boy to a billionaire. He took like 30 to 40 years to get there, okay? Steve Jobs had a garage, but it wasn't a cheap garage where he slept in. He had money, okay? He had a proper job when he got fired from Apple and then hired again to basically reinvigorate that brand. And secondly, these people are the creme de la creme. These people are the top dogs, okay? And you have to be realistic. You and I, we're not the top dogs. Now, I know a lot of people out there tend to they tend to call me negative when I say this, but if you want to have success in business, your choices should reflect a certain probability, okay? If you have $500 and you invested $500 all in marketing budget, for instance, and you expect to be a millionaire by the end of the month, that's not probable, okay? It's more probable that with that $500 investment, you get $400 back. So some people say, oh, that's bollocks and it's nonsense and all that kind of stuff, but I've done digital marketing for at least 5 years now, and I can assure you that paid marketing, except for retargeting, but like paying for eyeballs, is not as successful or doable as you might think, okay? It will cost you a lot of money to generate leads, more or less. And 9 out of 10 times, these people will not buy. So, again, don't take the easy way. If you don't have the money, start build capital, doing arbitrage, getting another job that pays you more, whatever you need to do to get the cash. I would do that first, right? Make sure you have at least $20,000 to $30,000, and if you want us to do it, you can start with the brand builder program, okay? But if you just want to do it yourself, I would say $30,000 is something to aim for, okay? That's like a safe amount of money where you can where you can actually launch your brand and have it actually succeed, okay? That's the short end of it. So I don't see any questions in the chat, so that's fine. Makes it a short day for me. So, well, if there's no questions, then maybe check the Facebook group, because sometimes people post a question in our Facebook group. Okay, don't see anything. Okay, fine. So anyway, I hope this helped in getting things clear when it comes to hijackers and ownership of the listing and all that kind of stuff. Again, if you need any help building an online business and actually want it to succeed, don't do it on your own, okay? Get our help. We can do the entire job for you via our brand builder program. We also have a passive income coaching program where we help you, where we have a monthly call. We will help you with issues with Amazon, customers. We can even draft replies for you. We can create like images to show you what you need to do with your digital marketing advertising. So we can help you, support you, and help you build your business. Okay, going at it alone will, again, 90% of Amazon sellers don't make money. Of the 10% that remains, 90% make as much as someone flipping burgers. Okay, you just need to read those stats to understand your chances of success. So don't go at it alone. If you don't have any money but still want our help, we have a Facebook group. It's called the OLEADS, the Amazon FBA support group. If you just Google, if you just type it in the Facebook search box, then you will find us definitely. There we can help you for free. Again, this group is the equivalent of many of these paid groups where you have to spend thousands just to enter. Within our group, we actually provide you help for free. Okay, so if you don't have any money, go there and just get some information before you get started. If you have like an individual question, I always answer these for free. You can also mail me at martin@owaleads.com with just single questions. Okay, because if I look at our coaching program, it's basically spread over a year, because I don't believe that a coach is something you can do for a day. So if you have a single question, just I will answer that for free. But if you really want to build a business and need some help, then we have paid programs. That's basically the short end of it. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy what's left of your weekend. And if you have any questions, again, just contact me and I will treat these questions the next week, or maybe even answer them via email. Right? So enjoy your weekend, or what's left of it, and see you next week. Right? Bye bye. Right? Bye bye.